Hey everyone, welcome to Christina Cakes It. I'm Christina, and today I'm showing you how to make a giant sculpted buttercream wave cake. So anybody who knows me knows that I absolutely love the beach. I love the ocean. It is my happy place. So of course I wanted to make a really cool 3D cake, and I decided to go with a giant buttercream wave. And this cake is going to involve a little bit of carving and a lot of buttercream frosting, and I think the end result is going to be so beautiful. To kind of get started with this, like in my brain when I was planning this out, I knew I was gonna have some leveled cakes I was gonna carve down. And what I have here to start with are two 8-inch layers, and this is a third 8-inch layer and it's cut down. And I'm actually going to show you guys a picture of what the cakes looked like before I stacked them. And you're gonna see this top third layer is not exactly cut halfway. I'd say it's like more like 2/3 or 3/4 of a cake. And I also did not level off the top. I left that little dome on there because the way that I want the wave, it's like, you know, a crashing wave. So it has that arch that I wanted to keep. And so obviously I already stacked and crumb coated this cake, this really messy crumb coat, which is fine because I'm going to start carving away. And it's super important anytime you carve a cake, it does need to be chilled. So this cake was living in my refrigerator overnight and it just came out and it's ready for me to start sculpting it. And I would say the amount of carving for this cake is actually not going to be too much. It's not too difficult, or in my brain, I don't think it's going to be too difficult. And what I'm going to start with is I'm just going to start cutting this edge here. So this is obviously like a straight 90-degree angle, and I want to get it at like a 45-degree angle because this is going to be my wave and this is going to be my sand. And if that doesn't make sense now, it will as I start to decorate. So first thing, I'm going to make basically a 45-degree angle here. So I'm just going to go in and make a slice and fling some cake. So in this part, I wouldn't stress too much about because it's gonna be covered with a lot of icing. And so it can definitely be covered if there's like any flaws. So I'm not sure if that's a perfect 45-degree angle, but it works for me. So next I'm going to start creating the actual wave and sand. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with the sand. So for this I have various shades of buttercream that I just dyed using gel food coloring. And for the sand I actually use Wilton gel food coloring in ivory. And a bonus about this cake is it's gonna have lots of texture, or the way that I picture it has lots of texture. So I'm gonna smooth it out some, but it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. So I have my sand portion here, and now I'm just gonna start adding some blue, obviously for the ocean wave. And I think what I'm gonna start with is I'm just gonna cover it in a base color of blue, and then I'm gonna work on texturing the buttercream so that it looks like a wave. So as I am putting this buttercream on this little angled part, you can see, even though I'm gonna continue to cover this, I'm kind of just brushing up, and you can kind of start to see how this is gonna turn into a wave. So I'm adding like an excess of buttercream at the top here, like a crashing wave. So now you can see on this initial coat of buttercream, I'm just kind of putting some texture in to show the wave breaking and then pulling back. So before I move forward anymore, I'm gonna stop at this point because I wanna pop this into the freezer for about 10 minutes so this will chill, because I'm gonna add some more buttercream with some different colors and more textures, but I don't want everything to completely smear together, so into the freezer for about 10 minutes. So I just took the cake out of the freezer. It was in there for, like I said, about 10 minutes. And what I'm gonna do now is go back in with different shades of buttercream to add some dimension to this and really make it look like a wave. I don't really have like a whole plan for this. It's kind of just a general idea. And what I'm gonna start with is just adding in a little bit of white. So I'm gonna kind of experiment with adding in just different shades of buttercream here. If I don't like it, I can always just cover it up. So definitely at the top of the wave, I'm gonna add a significant amount of white. I think that's really gonna make it look more realistic. And you could do this technique with just even a butter knife, but you can see I'm obviously using just like various sizes of palette knives. I use them a lot in cake decorating. I found them really handy. I feel like this cake design is one that like you could just like keep going and going and adding. And eventually you just kind of have to look at it and be like, nope, that's a good place to stop, because I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing right now. So I was staring at the cake, trying to figure out what it needed, and I think on the wave it needs like another layer of like, I don't know how to describe this technique that I'm doing, just to kind of show like depth in the wave. So my giant wave is done, and it was definitely like an art project. I would say it was like abstract, and I also don't think there's a way you could really mess this up. So it's a really fun cake to just kind of play around with the design. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching me create this cake. And if you did, don't forget to give this episode a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.